Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Real Life Gaze, the podcast that discusses and educates people on topics and issues relating to the LGBTQ plus community. My name is Gareth.
And my name is Lee.
And this week's episode is our final episode of season 1 of Real Life Gaze. I know. We always said we would do 10 episodes this season and then have a little break and then return in the summer with season 2. As always, to make sure you are up to date, especially on the dates of our return, make sure you're following us on all of our socials, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Real Life Gaze. But for more information and for the links to these socials, visit our website, reallifegaze.com. This 10th episode is basically just going to be a little chat about what we want to achieve from the podcast. But we also have a surprise special guest joining us just in a little bit. I wonder who that could be, so stay tuned for that. Season 2 is shaping up to be very exciting indeed, with topics such as gay adoption, mental health, talking about kinks, and also a fun episode where we will be asking a straight guy anything we want. So please keep an eye out for our return. But before we go any further, a big thank you to all of our guests this season, to Brandy, Miss Natasha, Scott, Billy, Emma, Max, and Cheyenne O'Shea. It's been brilliant having them on, and it's been really, really fun. But yes, Lee, I'm just basically going to be asking what your favourite part so far of season 1?
Oh, well, first of all, also a big, huge thank you to everyone that joined us. But I think I really, really enjoy the fact that it's audio, so I can look like absolute crap.
Apart from when I do little snippets of the Urban.
Yes, that's lovely, Gareth. Yeah,
especially when I don't warn you. I'm just taking bits of the video, and I'm like, I'll just post that without asking his permission. You're welcome.
Thanks. No, it's nice, like, to catch up with like people from the previous on the YouTube channel and whatnot, and seeing where they are now. Yeah, and also obviously the new shows that we've got coming up in the pipeline. I'm looking forward to do those as well.
Your favorite thing about season 1, though, like, did you have a favorite topic or favorite moment? I know it's difficult to single anyone out because we loved all of our guests and episodes for different reasons. But was there one particular topic we spoke about that you were particularly interested in, or you have fond memories of a little bit more than any others? Nothing personal about the guests, but just the topic in general.
I think, like, say, especially with the HIV episode, we've been trying for a while to try and get someone to talk about that, and sexual health. That was really good. Yeah. And we've had a lot of good feedback from that. Yeah. And I've not really picked one particular episode out, to be honest.
I've like what you're saying. I've liked different episodes for different reasons. Some of them are a bit more educational, and I come away from it going, oh, I've learned a little bit more, especially in the HIV episode, the non-binary episode. There's things that I'm still learning and educating ourselves about. And that's why we do this podcast. For me, I really, really enjoyed Miss Natasha's episode because, number one, she's hilarious, but I just found it so interesting. And especially now, because like what we said on the episode a few weeks ago, trans rights is all over the news just now, and there's so much controversy around it. And I just felt it was so nice just listening to Natasha's opinion and just having a nice laugh with her.
Yeah.
Really, really enjoyed it. So when you speak to your friends and family and some of our followers on our socials, what are people saying about the podcast to you?
They're really enjoying it. They said, oh, it seems to be not better, but I can listen to it a bit more freer instead of having to, go onto YouTube and listen to it like that. So people listen to it in cars and such. But yeah, everyone's still really enjoying it from what I'm getting feedback from.
Same. And it's not just the friends and family that I'm hearing from. We're getting messages from people that are new fans to us, which is brilliant. And they're saying they're loving what we're doing. And the reason we went to a podcast like you just said, Lee, is so people can listen to it whilst doing other things, in the car, whilst doing the shopping, whilst doing the ironing. It doesn't demand all of your attention. you're not giving up an hour of your time because you're able to do other things at the same time. And you can pause it and go back to it, and it's so much easier, especially since we're on pretty much over 50 platforms. The biggest platform everyone listens to is Apple Podcasts and Spotify, but we are on so many other podcast platforms that we reach so many other people from all over the world. I find it really interesting on the podcast service that we use, the provider that we use, to see where everyone's listening from is so interesting. I'm going to go onto the website just now, just to tell you, Lee, because you don't know this. When I go to podcast information in our statistics and go to locations, we have our biggest 77% of our listeners are in Europe. Not really surprising there. We have 16% are in North America. We have 3% are in Africa, and 2% are in Asia. But yeah, the countries we go from, clearly United Kingdom, we got Ireland, Nigeria, India, Germany, Singapore. It's so interesting because I get a little ping to say we've had so many listens, and I pop on and just looking at the locations, I find it fascinating that we're reaching all these places, which we might not have been able to reach if we'd continued just posting videos on YouTube. And we still have our podcast on YouTube. It's never going to be as popular listening to a podcast on YouTube because you're just looking at a blank screen. But I still post up because I know there's a couple of people who have been fans of the show right back at the start who only use YouTube. They find it really easy to use for whatever reason. So I still post it up mainly for them because it doesn't take that long for me to do. But I just find it so much easier with a podcast. We're reaching so much bigger audience, and when you get the statistics of all these people around the world, it's I find it fascinating, and I love it. I really love it.
It's like, we said from the start, didn't it? We did it during the first lockdown for something to do, a bit of fun and everything like that, which it has been, the YouTube and this, but also, like you say, educational. I was chatting to, like, say, new friends. And then people say, you go through the first initial chat, hi, how's you, blah, blah, what do you do for a living, blah, blah, blah. So obviously I tell them what my main job is. And I mean, I don't even class this as a job really, but I say, I also do because obviously they see me on social media and Instagram and stuff, and they say, what's this podcast that you do? Someone actually asked me, is it your full-time job? I was like, no.
If only we could get paid for this.
I don't see it as a job. I'm just, it would be nice eventually to maybe do something like that, but yeah, and I feel really proud talking from how we first all met, and then we were all over the world type thing. Like Rhys was over in Cyprus, now he's London, I'm here. I was in Nottingham. I know I haven't travelled far, but now I'm here. And like just giving people a little bit of a background of where we were, where we are now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel really proud. And it's so nice to actually have the odd message or private message and saying, I really like what you're doing. And
yeah,
it's nice to know that someone's listening.
A big difference. And I was at an account with my main job this week, and the woman did say, who follows me on socials, she was like, like what you just said, Lee, what is this Real Life Gaze I see you posting about? What is this? And I said, it's a podcast. And her words to me were, I never thought I would listen to that because I'm not part of your community. And I'm like, no, we don't make it just for people who are part of our community. We make it for everyone. It's an educational podcast. We try and make all of our topics meant for everyone to educate themselves. When we're talking about non-binary, these are things that affect every single person. And that's what I said to her. I was like, no, we're not making this just for gay people, bisexual people, or anyone who's in our community. We're making it for everyone. And then she was like, actually, maybe I should go and listen to it then. What episodes would you recommend? And I was like, well, you don't have to listen to all of the episodes. If you have no interest in listening to Single Life of Gay People, skip that episode. It's absolutely fine. If you want to listen to the transgender episode, the non-binary episode about HIV, these are things that are available to you, and you can pick and choose which ones you want to listen to. But, and this is what I've said to even people in my family, we're making it for everyone, not just our community.
Different ages, genders, everything. One of my cousins does a podcast on football. Now, I'm not going to listen to that because I have zero interest in football. So that's different. That is a niche. That you're targeting people who are football fans or have an interest in that sport. So if I turn around and say I'm not listening to that, you can completely understand it. So there's a misconception that our podcast is just for a certain type of people, and it's not. It is really for everyone, and that's why we're doing it. I mean, we've even said, haven't we, that we've learned quite a lot
Yeah.
doing this, and we're in the LGBTQ community.
And the topics we're going to be discussing in season 2, like adoption, yes, we're going to be talking to 2 gay dads, or one of the gay dads. We don't know yet if it's 1 or 2 of them, but it's going to be a very similar process they've went through, I'm assuming, if with straight couples who are adopting. And when we talk about mental health, it'll be very similar to anyone who suffers from mental health, not just a gay person. So, and then when we say we're going to have a bit of fun with the straight guy who's coming on, that's going to be a fun episode, as in we're going to say that maybe gay terminology or little things that some people in the straight community may not have heard before. So that'll be quite fun. You'll see some YouTube videos of people doing stuff like this already. But I think with our podcast, what I'm enjoying is there's not a lot of, I wouldn't say competition, but there's not a lot of people doing what we're doing. When I was deciding, when Rhys brought it up before to turn it into a podcast, I did research and I was like, well, let me just check if it's dominated so far with so many people doing it, because we're just going to get faded into the background and going to be a small fish in a huge pond. And when I looked, yeah, there are a lot of podcasts. Podcasts, it's no secret, are massive just now, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to join in. But there's not really anything like us. I think I counted on one hand how many podcasts are trying to do what we're doing. And 3 of them are American. 2 of them are UK based, and very similar thing they're doing, but it's usually one person. So what we're doing is we're trying to get guests in, and we're trying to get topics that are for everyone, and it's going to be useful information for everyone. And some of these other podcasts I listen to, they are just mainly for the gay community, which is absolutely fine. There is a market for that, and they do really well. So for me, that's why I thought, yeah, podcasts is the best thing for us. We're not doing this podcast, like we've said all the time, to become rich and famous, nor are we doing it to get thousands and thousands of followers. We would like to get thousands of followers because we think what we're doing is worth it and needs to be heard. But we are aware that we are still a small fish in a big pond with regards to podcasts, not our actual topics and niche community that we're part of.
Yeah.
But we don't have the finances behind us to put it up and all the marketing campaigns and the monetizations. So we will always be a small podcast, but if we reach a couple of hundred people, and within those hundreds of people that listen, 2, 3 make a difference to them, like we know it is just now, then it's worth our time. We don't make any money out of this podcast. We do it because we enjoy it for our own education purposes and entertainment. Yeah. But we're making a difference. And that's why hopefully we'll continue. And we hopefully won't run out of topics, but we've got quite a good few topics for season 2. And we'll see how many seasons we get. But once we've finished the podcast, whether it takes a few months or a few years, whatever, these will be here forever to listen to. Like the YouTube channel, the podcast will be here for other people in the future to come and listen. Because I don't know about you, Lee, but I listen to podcasts that are years old because what they're talking about is still relevant. And it says, published in 2017. And I'm like, well, I don't really care because I'm interested in this, so I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, that's why I'm happy we decided to do a podcast. I'm happy with how it's going just now, and I'm excited to see what it goes in the future.
Definitely, 100%.
So yeah, our surprise though, this episode, because it's the last episode of season 1, we felt the best thing to do would be to reach out to an old friend and to
old friend
to have a quick catch up with him and see what he's all about. We have invited Rhys. Rhys is coming on to have a chat about his life. So you're going to have the full RLG back together again for a little reunion. So without further ado, please welcome back our very own Rhys. Rhys, hello.
Hi.
Rhys, we've missed you so much. How are you?
I've missed you boys too. And do you know what's really weird? Obviously, I'm so used to being on YouTube. So I was like, oh my God, I've got to look pretty. And then I thought, oh no, I don't.
Well, we just said about this earlier. I said to Lee, yeah, podcasts are great because you don't have to look pretty, unless I use a little clip that I've been doing.
I did think that because I've seen that you've been using clips. So I'm like, oh.
And then Lee was like, but you didn't tell me. I was like, sorry. Surprise. So for those of you who don't know, first of all, where have you been? Rhys, Lee, and Gareth are RLG. Rhys decided to take a little bit of step back because he wasn't available to our podcast. So Lee and myself went ahead with just the two of us. So Rhys, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Well, I decided to take a sabbatical.
Sabbatical.
No, so basically, yeah, obviously I met you boys. I don't know how much, obviously, your viewers know. I know that we've spoken about it before. Met you boys during lockdown. I was living in Cyprus at the time with my ex-husband. And like most of us during lockdown, just tried to occupy myself with something else. So then obviously we started this. I then left it in your boys' capable hands because I was going through a bit of a change in my life and I didn't really have the time to fit it in. But yeah, I'm also gay.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if you could tell.
No,
I do.
Shocker.
I'm very, very gay. I don't know. I feel weird because you boys know who I am.
Well, we know who you are, and I think most of our listeners will. But what I was saying to Lee as well before you came on, we have reached obviously a wider audience, and we're getting a lot more people from all over the world. So there'll be people who, we've spoken about you in the past, and if you've been onto our website, they know who you are. But there might be people who've never heard about you and go, "Oh, who is this guy?" And I was like, "Well, number one, where have you been? Real Life Gays is set up because Real Life Gays RLG, but also because our names, Rhys, Lee, and Gareth." And you are on all of our YouTube videos, but you haven't been able to come onto our podcast. But because RLG was your idea, the podcast was even your idea, we felt like the best way to end season 1 with this episode is to get you on and just have a catch up and find out what you've been doing this year. So what have you been doing, Rhys? What's more important than us?
You're so good. Nothing's more important than you boys.
Yeah.
I mean, for the new viewers or listeners, whoever's watching, let's just say I'm a silent partner. That's all we have to say.
Yeah, because Rhys did say that you guys go ahead without me, and we're like, no. We will go ahead and we will do the podcast, but we're not going on without you. You will always be there, whether it's in the background or like we put you on the website, because it's always a 3-person thing. It really is. So
I mean,
we've left the door open.
Threesomes are always best.
So we do want you back. So exclusive, are you going to be coming back?
I mean, never say never.
Never say never. But tell us what have you been up to that's kept you so busy?
So obviously I did have to take a little bit of sabbatical from the show, which was a very hard decision for me to make. But there was the beginning of 2021 was very difficult, as you boys know. There was ups and downs in my whole life, and then it's managed to sort itself out. But I've now got myself a brand new career, brand new job. I'm in a brand new relationship. So it's kind of juggling, obviously, the new relationship, the new job, which is so much training. I'm literally 3 weeks into training and I've still got another week to go. Obviously seeing family as well, which has been tough. So it's kind of me juggling everything that I was trying to juggle. RLG just kind of wasn't fitting in, especially moving on to podcasting, because obviously the recording is different. It would have been like longer times that we were recording, because obviously I know that for most podcasts, I don't know if anyone knows podcasts, but obviously you have to record a few in advance. Yeah. So I kind of was thinking, I don't know if I've got the time with the new boyfriend, the new job, and all of that jazz. But, never say never. I'm starting to iron out the wrinkles of my life again. So
because when you said it, in January, you were taking a step back, just go ahead without me. And we were like, well, no, because your life, what I wouldn't want to happen is we move on and say, that's the door closed, you're out of it forever, that's you done, we're divorced. And we thought, it'll get to a point where your relationship won't be new anymore. You'll settle down, your job will work itself out, you'll financially be sorted, everything will just be fitting into a puzzle piece. And then you'll kind of be like, oh, I now have the time for this podcast and I miss it. And that's when we were like, well, I think that will get there for you. It's just everything was happening at once for you. And there's certain things that need to be prioritized, like your new relationship, like your family, like your job. These are things that are really important. And that's why we just said, no, you just do you just now. And you come back to us when you're ready. So we're hoping this is dipping your toe back in. We're having a break after this episode anyway. And we're going to be filming during the break. We're going to be filming. And if you can pop on, you might be one of these people that just kind of pop on as and when. I listen to podcasts that, have 2 main presenters, and they'll sometimes say, and we're joined by such and such this week. So you might be one of those people that when, as and when you can, you pop on. And I'm totally fine with that if you are.
I bet you are. I mean, I think it's something that you should leave open to your listeners. I think, they should do some kind of competition, get Rhys back into the RLG.
Oh, did you hear that, everyone? So Rhys will only come back if you want him back.
I'm joking. Do you know what the thing
needy
is,
bitch.
I absolutely adore you two. And I needed to tell you, like, I told you both with respect that I couldn't do it anymore. And the response that you both gave me was perfect. It was just how friends should act, And I think when you're telling somebody something that you're scared of how they're going to act, you do kind of play out all of the scenarios in your mind. And there were scenarios I thought, oh my God, they're both going to hate me. They're going to never want to talk to me again. I've ruined everything for them. But you boys acted so lovingly, if that's the word. Yeah, I think it is. That I do want to come back. And you've left the door open to me. And I've been listening to all the podcasts. I mean, I've got a few favourites.
Really?
I do have a few favourites. The most recent one was probably one of the top favourites, if I'm honest, with Miss Cheyenne. Yes. Yeah. And
how
also,
amazing Cheyenne.
I love Cheyenne. And I listened to that podcast and I thought that was really good. And I also listened to the Miss Deville.
Oh, yes. Miss Natasha.
I
just said before
her.
you came on, I said that as much as I love everyone who's on our show and all the episodes, that's got a big place in my heart, the Miss Natasha episode, because I'm just so interested in it and she's just an amazing person. And
I do.
It went the quickest hour ever with Natasha because I was like, oh my God, it's over, because I could just listen to her for hours. So yeah,
it's so funny. Because I thought you guys were going to do like 30-minute ones. So I thought, let me listen to a couple on the way to work. But my new drive to work is only like 15 minutes. So I listened to 15 minutes of the one with Natasha and I was like, oh my God, I can't even finish it. So annoying. So I had to listen to it on the way home. But no, I love that one. And then you boys talk about subjects that I really wanted to talk about when we was doing YouTube, like the HIV subject. I've missed a lot. Slightly jealous.
So we do have... what I would really like to get you involved in for the season 2, we have gay adoption.
Oh,
we've got that with two gay dads who are wanting to come on. Whether just one of the dads or two of them, it depends on their schedules and stuff. I thought that would be brilliant for you to be part of. And of course, we're going to bring back the kink. We're going to do a kinky episode. And I bet you loved that. You loved it with all your disgusting noises and everything.
That's what Stephen says.
So yes, you just mentioned it there. You could not obviously be part of our gay and single episode because you're no longer single.
I am no longer single. No.
Tell us more about that, please.
So it's a weird one. I mean, right? Okay, let's just cards on the table, people. So Rhys here. I've been around the block.
Really? He's a serial dater.
Typical gay man in my 20s. Obviously, I met my husband, and that ended quite sadly, obviously, but it had to. When I met Stephen, and I'm going to say his name because he's lovely, it was a Grindr chat. We started off on Grindr. We were just talking for a little while, and I thought he was going to catfish me because he's very good looking. He's kind of like a Ken doll, if that makes any sense. Like
he is Ken. He is Ken doll.
Yeah, he's a Ken doll, and I'm not. I'm a bit more of a Raggedy Ann kind of person. So the way I say it is he was a 10 and I was like a 7, pushing 8 maybe. So I thought he was going to catfish me. I didn't think anything was going to come of it. And when he came around for dinner, he was 2 hours late for our first date. I know, I was so angry. 2 hours late for the first date, but he shows up and the conversation just flowed. And it's kind of flowed ever since. We've never really had a quiet period, if that makes sense. We're constantly in conversation and we talk so much. And like one of our things that we say to each other is cards on the table, no matter what the situation is, cards on the table. And we're taking it very slowly, which again is not like me at all. Normally they would have moved in and I would have had 2 kids by now. But it's moving very slowly and I'm enjoying myself. I'm enjoying it. I'm very happy. I'm a happy person right now.
You deserve really, it. Really happy. You do look happy. And I've met Stephen because when I came down in January and seeing you together, I've not seen you that happy in a long time. And of course, it was still relatively new. It's obviously been a few more months since then. And I was so worried. I was like, please don't let this break your heart because you're putting all of your eggs in this basket. And I was like, oh no, Rhys. But I really do hope it works out for you, because I've not seen you as smitten as you are. And you're a beautiful couple. You're a really beautiful couple.
We would have very pretty children.
Little mini Barbies, yes. But it's so interesting that you met on Grindr, because we spoke about the dating apps and everything in the gay and single episode. So it's just proof that it works if you just be patient.
You can do it. I mean, my advice would be, if I was on that episode, my advice would be just be honest. If you're genuinely just looking for the one thing that 9 out of people on Grindr are looking for, say that. Be honest about it. Don't play around. If you genuinely want to meet somebody for a relationship, again, say that. You're probably going to get let down more than you're going to get taken up on the offer, but bear with it. If you've got the time and the energy and you're not in a rush to be with anyone, stick with it. I mean, I was on Grindr for both reasons. There were days where I was on there just for that one thing, and then there were days where I was on there where I was like, no, do you know what? I'm genuinely lonely and I want a cuddle and I want somebody to come and watch a film with me. And weirdly, when Stephen messaged me, I was in the kind of mood where I wanted to talk. I didn't want anything else. And it just kind of went from there. So it is possible. Just stick with it.
But am I right in saying you kissed a lot of frogs?
I've kissed a fair few frogs. And if any of you are listening, I hope that you find your Prince Charming.
Ah, that's very sweet of you. No, I don't have the energy right now for the dating, but seeing your success, and I say that, I mean, I said this a lot during that episode. I was like, because when I first said it, oh, Rhys has got a boyfriend, and I was like, that bitch. And then I was like, what am I doing? Because it's not that important to a lot of people having a relationship. But
no,
there's certain elements of being in a relationship, like I mentioned, I miss. Is there anything you miss about being single, though? Be honest.
No, not really. I mean, since us three did the episode about relationships and stuff, and we spoke about open relationships and things like that, I've kind of had more of an open mind to certain things. Hence why the rule cards on the table has come along. I've always wanted a best friend who I would do absolutely anything with, and I mean anything.
So for the kink episode, we'll get you back on.
Well, at the moment, as it stands, it's a close relationship and it's very much getting to know each other and taking things slowly. But I don't miss much being single. When I was single, I enjoyed myself. I had fun. I was getting drunk, and it's very much the same every single day when you're single. And
true.
No offense to anyone who's single and loves it, like, go for it. I'm all for it. If that's fine. But having that person literally just being there watching the TV with you is priceless, if I'm honest. And I'm very much a relationship orientated type of person, so I don't do well on my own. I get really bored.
Well, you did say that to us last time as well, and even when I was down there, I was like, God, get off me, Rhys.
I know. I mean, I literally dragged you back into bed because I was cold.
I know. I was like, we need to find you a man, because this is clearly important to you. But you're not living together yet. That's obviously in some point in the future.
I mean, we've been together 6 months. I'm quite happy to wait another 6. So
I'm really happy that you're happy. And I don't want to say I'm really happy you're in a relationship. I'm just happy that you're happy, whether that be single or in a relationship.
And I'm happy that you're happy being single.
We're happily, aren't we?
Yeah, I suppose.
Good. You should be. There's nothing wrong with being single. I don't know why people think single such a... It's not. Single is fun. But I just think if you can meet someone who is basically going to offer you your cake and let you eat it.
Yeah.
That's why from the very beginning, just be honest with each other.
What you want is the most important thing.
You say that about being honest with each other, and it's certainly that I go into relationships like that, but then they don't.
It's kind of a two-way street, because I can completely understand why people have that issue. I literally said it from day one with Stephen. I was like, look, I'm looking for a best friend. And I was quite open and honest about the sex side of the relationship, and I was quite open and honest about the love side as well. And I'm not really hiding anything. I do trust him, and I know people will be like, really? No, I do, because he knows that anything, if he really wanted to re-download Grindr and get back on it, all he's got to do is come and ask me, or not ask me, sorry, talk to me. Let's talk about it, work out what the issue is. If there's no issue, go ahead and download Grindr. It's cool.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are going to disagree. When the relationship is ready for that stage to happen, which I'm sorry to say 9 times out of 10 it's going to be ready for that stage, as long as you're open and honest and talk about it, no one's got any reason to go behind your back and do anything.
This is a different Rhys from last year.
I know, I'm a grown man.
I know, my baby's all grown up.
I've also lost a stone in weight.
Oh my God, how did you do it?
I am now 12 stone.
Is it because you've got a man who really likes the gym?
I mean, I have been going to the gym, but I haven't been going to the gym for at least a month because the new job has kind of overtaken everything. But the new job has also overtaken my lunch breaks and my breakfast, so I no longer eat.
Are you enjoying the job though?
I love it. I love my job. It's such a good job.
But do you not miss hair?
I still do hairdressing on the weekend.
I was going to say, yeah. Okay.
I'm still working 6 days a week, but that won't last because as much as I enjoy doing hairdressing, I don't really like people. So I don't think it's going to carry on for much longer.
Yeah, you kind of have to speak to the person's hair the person whose hair you're cutting.
Yeah, and it's just not happening. But you boys are doing very well with the show. Go on, Lee. Go.
About hair.
Have you got any?
No.
But you do.
I do.
Looking fabulous.
Did you hear that we mentioned it on the last episode?
I missed that bit. What, you mentioned that I've got a wig on?
So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, both Rhys and I are wearing hair systems, so hair replacement systems, not hair transplants. We are basically wearing a wig stuck on. And we're proud of it.
I tell everyone, I'm really not ashamed because I love the fact that it looks so real.
Yeah.
So when people go, "Oh, I love your hair," I'm like, "It's a wig."
Look, I can take it off. No.
I love it.
No, but you're looking amazing. And we did the body image episode, obviously, with Cheyenne, and where we're talking about stuff. And what did you think about all the work that Cheyenne had done?
Do you know what? I know she's a drag queen, so I'm going to go with she because that's what drag queens do. She does look amazing. She does look stunning. I was shocked that she got so much done.
But it's cheaper the more you get done, apparently.
Which I completely understand, but there was nothing ever wrong with Cheyenne, if that makes sense, physically.
Yeah.
I know to yourself, you might find that you've got things wrong.
Yeah.
But looking at, I don't know whether to go he or she now, looking at Cheyenne, there's nothing physically wrong. However, she does look amazing now.
Well, and as they said, they did it for themselves, no one else. And if it makes them feel better, go for it. Because I said to them, I was watching their lives from the hospital bed and I was shocked. But there was also a lot of negativity coming in on the comments. Like, why did you do this to yourself? You didn't need to. You were beautiful before, blah, 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 blah. And then, they said they went off and spoke to them privately and said, I did it for me. This is why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it for a man. I'm not doing it to make you or get the approval of you. I'm doing it because I wanted it to be for me.
It's an individual choice.
Of course it is.
100%. I think that's so admirable as well. As long as you're only doing it for yourself, then what's the problem?
Yeah. If you can afford to do it and you're not harming anyone, go for it. And that's kind of the motto for everything in life.
Exactly, definitely.
Yeah. So have you got anything to ask
us? Yes.
To ask us?
So obviously I have been listening and I am enjoying it. Which, since I've left, what episode have you guys enjoyed actually filming the most?
Oh.
You mentioned about the Natasha one and also like the Billy one, like mainly like the funny moments as well that we've had. It's like the Would You Rather and Have You Ever and this, that, and the other 9 times out of 10.
And have you missed him saying this, that, and the other?
I totally just had to laugh at that. I have missed that so much.
So for me, I edit all of this, and I really try my best to get our episodes an hour or less. I try not to put it over an hour. Sometimes it's an hour and 2 minutes or whatever. And the amount of this, that, and the others that I cut out, the amount of you-knows that I say you-know constantly, and I take out so many M's and buts and blah, and it takes me forever. And I'm like, oh, there's another this, that, and the other. Oh, there's another, there's another so. And I'm like, oh.
We had this conversation before you started the podcast. You were like, right, we need to really stop doing the bad habits that we've got.
It's easier said than done because I actually put a post-it note behind my laptop saying, don't say,
I love it.
And then afterwards I'm listening going, I just said, about 12 times in that sentence. And then Lee said this, that, and the other. And I don't mind saying M because M is a natural thing to do. And then that's easy to cut out. But when I'm saying, and it doesn't even make sense sometimes when I'm saying it. Oh, for God's sake. And these are the things that we'll try our best to get out of the habit of doing.
No, you're doing fine. The podcast so far are really good, really interesting to listen to as well. What about personal lives? Because boys, we actually haven't spoken as friends for a little while either.
Well, we're different, Rhys, because I feel like I've seen you not that long ago, because it wasn't that long ago. We were talking.
It was January, yeah, so it wasn't too bad.
A few months ago now. So for me, not much has changed that much. I've got a busy year ahead. I'm going to visit Scott. So Scott, who was on our podcast for the homophobia episode, I'm going to stay with him for 10 nights in Washington, D.C. And we're going to go to New York for a few days. And then I've got a few holidays. I'm going to a wedding in Andalusia in Spain. And I've got hen parties coming up, holidays in Scotland. So it's a busy year. And this year, like last year, is flying. It's the quickest year ever.
So quick.
And I've always said this, the older you get, the quicker the years go.
Mm-hmm.
So for me,
Lee,
I'm happy.
Lee, you
like that.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
Lee's so quick.
Lee's already in December.
Yes.
I think Lee loved the episode with Cheyenne because he wasn't the oldest. But no, I'm doing absolutely grand, and it's been a very quick year.
No men on the scene for you, Gareth.
No men on the scene. I'm having fun, like I said in the gay and single episode. I'm enjoying myself, and if it comes along, it comes along. But I'm not actively looking for a relationship. I'm just enjoying the freedom. Good.
What about you, Lee?
I'm single, but similar to Gareth, I'm enjoying myself with an array of select people.
The potpourri of the gay club.
I've missed you, Rhys. I've so missed you.
Do you know what? I've really missed you.
Anyway.
I feel like I should have had a drink on this episode.
I am.
We do need to have a party episode. So we can do that in season 2 at one point. We'll be like, Rhys, when are you free? We'll do a party episode where we're just chatting shit, and we can do like lots of dares and truths and stuff like that.
I think what you should do, Gareth, because you're so organised, right? If you just sent me over like a timetable of what episodes you're doing and when you're doing them, if I'm free, I can just, pencil myself in. So maybe we can come back a little bit, because I do miss you both.
Yeah, and gay lives don't really work. I prefer real life gays.
We need the RLG, yeah, we do.
Whoa, 1 minute. You actually play around with the name?
No, I didn't. Leo, it's all coming out now.
The name?
Like
never get rid of the real.
I was like, we need to find someone else beginning with R. Is there a Robert out there, or a Romeo, or
a Romeo?
No, you're irreplaceable, Rhys. You're irreplaceable.
I know. Totally not full of myself.
No, in answer to your last question, like about what we enjoyed film, I'm just enjoying filming it all. The editing can be a little bit tedious, but the end result is worth it. It is. It is. And I love the fact. What do you listen to it on?
I listen to it on my phone when I'm in the car.
Like Spotify, Apple Podcasts. What do you use? Spotify, because Spotify used to be at the top, and now Apple Podcasts is overtake.
Okay.
So yeah, and so I love the fact that we're on all the big boy podcasts. We're everywhere. See, I just said about 20 times in that sentence. Oh, dearie me.
Can it tell you, like, when you're on Spotify or on the Apple podcast thing, does it tell you how many people are actually following it or are subscribed to it or listen to it?
Yes, so the podcast server I use is called Buzzsprout. And when I go on to Buzzsprout, it tells me locations, apps, and devices. Top Apple Podcasts is 30%, Spotify is 29%. Unknown Apple apps is 14%, Stitcher 8%, Player FM 3%, Podbean 3%. Through our Real Life Gays website 3%, Instagram 1%, and then Apple HomePod. I don't know what that is. Amazon Echo.
Is that like the little? It's like Alexa.
Yeah,
it must be. It must be. And then 61% of people listen on an Apple iPhone, and then an Android phone is 24%, and unknown devices and Apple computers. So it tells me all of that, but I have to go on to the Spotify server, Apple server, Google server, like actual website, to then get the official stats, how many subscribers we've got on that platform, how many subscribers have got on Apple Podcasts. Because am I right in saying you can't leave a review on Spotify, but you can leave a review and rate on Google? On Apple Podcasts and Google. So we've got ratings on Apple Podcasts, and I think maybe 1 or 2 reviews. And I think we've got maybe I'll be able to tell you afterwards when I go on to Spotify, but it tells me how many subscribers. So if you are one of our listeners, to keep up to date, make sure you go onto Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcast and click subscribe, because it means as soon as we've got a new episode, you'll get a notification. But we'll continue into season 2 with always updating on Thursdays, because it seems to work perfectly.
Yeah.
For most of our listeners. And it means that it's all up and ready for weekend driving or whatever.
When I get the notification, it's like, yay, one more day to the weekend.
That's good for you, Rhys, because it gives you something, like what we've said, people listen to us in the car. If you listen to 15 minutes there, 15 minutes back, it might take 4 days to listen to an episode, but it gives you something to listen to. It makes your journey quicker.
On the way back, so I listen to it on the way home, and then I carry on listening to it on the way into the house.
Right, okay.
So I don't stop, don't worry. I don't take 4 days to listen to one episode. Are
there any topics that you want us to talk about that we haven't yet?
Talk about throwing me in the deep end. I'm going to try and think outside the box. I'm not even going to go back to when we was on YouTube. I think we should try and, you, because I'm not in it anymore.
Nope, still we.
I think we should try it. I love the fact that you've gone back to education. So you're talking about the HIV episode. Again, amazing. Things like that, sticking to the real core feeling of being a homosexual in the 21st century. And if I'm honest, I think if you can find a really old gay guy who was around when it was illegal.
Older than me.
Yeah. Somebody who was around when it was very frowned upon and possibly illegal as well. That would be a very interesting episode.
Someone who grew up maybe 60s and 70s.
Yeah. And again, I mean, a gay man's or a gay woman's perspective would be the best. But even if you just found somebody who was from that generation who maybe knew gay people and how they were, and because we always say, whenever I watch back on the YouTube videos and listen on here as well, we're very ageist, me and Gareth.
Are we?
And we always kind of say, well, from your generation, it's different. I would like to actually sit down with somebody and say,
how different was it?
Yeah, tell me why it's different. Why should I be?
I like that idea.
There are, I think it's 4 or maybe 5 older gay guys. I think they're on Instagram, they're on TikTok. They're quite well known. There's about 5 or 4 of them, but I think they're like way up here. They have stars coming in and everything else. But maybe we can approach them and just see.
Yeah, like I think the older the better. Like 70 plus would even be better because it's a completely different generation, and especially if they weren't out. And what I enjoy most, which is why I love Miss Natasha's episode as well, is people's stories, and their journey to get to where they are now. I find it fascinating. So to get someone on who's been through it all and seen a lot and survived it, I just find stuff like that fascinating. So yeah, if you're an older gentleman and would like to be on our podcast, you can remain anonymous. It's fine. Let us know. Visit reallifegays.com. I'd like to get you back on, Rhys, I want to do an episode on Pride. So when it's coming up to Pride week in, what is it, usually July or something?
Yeah.
I think you were really good on that episode because you did all your research and you were very passionate about history and stuff. So I think getting you on for that would be good.
Well, to be honest, when I was listening to Miss Natasha's episode, she kind of spun it as well because she grew up during the 80s, during the AIDS pandemic. So she doesn't really want to watch It's a Sin, which is what you guys were talking about. And I feel like that's it. Like you just said, I find it really interesting to hear from somebody who grew up in a time that we take so much for granted. Like, even though, like you said, when I did the Pride episode, yes, I went back and it was only 50 years ago this happened and 20 years ago that happened, but we never really lived through it. I mean, even if you think back, I'm 31, so 20 years ago, I was still too young to even care. Sorry, Lee. So, but I think, like, I love the history side of being gay, and it kind of reminds me of why we still have Pride and why we should be grateful that, we're not going to be sent to prison just for holding the guy's hands while we walk down the street. Like, little things like that do interest me, but I'd love to get the story from somebody who was actually there and how horrible it actually was, because I think it would wake you up.
Before you came on, we were talking about what's going to be happening in season 2. I said one of the ones we want to talk about is homosexuality around the world. So getting someone on who lives in a country where it is illegal to be gay and getting their perspective, like what we did with Maria in the YouTube channel. Yeah. Getting someone, because she's in the Philippines, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Getting someone's perspective of being a gay person or an out person or part of our community in a country where you would get jailed or worse, even killed. It would be horrific, but it would be fascinating to talk to them and see how they survive in places like that. So that trying to find someone again like that would be difficult. But again, if you know someone or you are that someone, please get in touch. Again, you could be anonymous, and that's the joy of a podcast. No one will ever see your face.
Unless Gareth uses it as a clip.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. The endless possibilities for podcasts. We hope we're going to be around for a while. And so during this break, before we come back for season 2, I'm going to focus on promotion for it, advertising for it, marketing for it, trying to maybe get guests of a certain caliber, which would then draw attention to us, because people like Cheyenne, who has a big following, who come onto our show and then share. It's all about helping each other out and getting our viewership up. The more people we can reach out to different demographics and different audiences, the better.
Definitely,
because we don't have the finances to pay a publishing company or to an advertising company to help get us known out there. We need to rely a lot on word of mouth. So again, if you're a listener, please give us a like and a share on your Facebook or your Instagram. Put it on your stories and say, give us a like and give us a follow, because what I said before, again, you came on, Rhys, we are making this for everyone. It's not just people in our community. I was speaking to a colleague earlier who said, I don't really listen to it. I see what you do, but I'm not in that community, so it's not really relevant to me. And I was like, no. This is for everyone. Some of our biggest followers are straight ladies who are not part of our community, but they're interested because they know it's important to know about this stuff, to not be ignorant, and everyone knows someone gay, everyone knows someone within our community. So it helps them be more understanding of the struggles we've all went through and the struggles we still face. So it's for everyone.
That's a very good point. I feel that a show like this is probably more for straight people than it is for gay people, because gay people already know.
Yeah, we know all this.
We already know. It's you straight people that don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain things we learn ourselves. Like most episodes I find very educational, so I'm learning, but it's but it's for everyone, especially people who know nothing about it. Or maybe they have a child or a niece or nephew or someone in their family who's coming out or struggling with their gender identity or anything, that think, where can I go to for some information? Come on, chat to us or messages, or just listen to some of our podcasts that might be relevant to what you're going through. That's why we want to do it.
Yeah,
definitely. I feel like I'm actually back already.
You're back. You're not allowed to leave us again.
Jealous to me.
So you must know then, Rhys, before we end an episode, we do a spin of the wheel. And because it's our last one, we are going to do 2 spins of the wheel and see where it lands. And
lucky boy.
The glamorous Tiff.
Yeah.
Tiff, get that gold dress on. Are you ready to spin it?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Let's spin the wheel. Okay, this is interesting. Out of all 3 of us, who's most likely to get plastic surgery? I feel like it's quite relevant because we were talking about Cheyenne. Out of the 3 of us, who do we think?
I think it's quite obvious.
I think so as well. Rhys.
I think Lee.
Because he's a little bit older.
Just a tad. Well, no, I think we should already it's obviously me, because I've already kind of got a little bit of plastic surgery in my face.
Oh.
Fill it up, honey. Fill it up. Cheeks, chin, and lips.
I mean, when I say plastic surgery, I mean under the scalpel, darling. Under general anesthetic.
100%. I've already said I want my pecs done and I want my abs done. And I really want a bum lift. Yeah.
Well, Cheyenne did talk to us about bum lifts in the last episode, which didn't make it to the episode, but because apparently 10% of people who get it don't survive. That's a high percentage for a BBL.
That's huge.
Chat to her before you do it.
Yeah. They will let you know.
I'm just going to buy those bum pad pants from Amazon. I saw them.
But that's what Cheyenne said.
Go to the gym and do squats.
Oh, that's too much effort.
I know.
So you're thinking about pec implants and ab surgery.
I've always wanted pec implants, but no one would really give me 6 weeks off and pay me for it. So I kind of put that one on the back burner. But now holidays get paid for people, so maybe watch this space. And then I've always wanted like liposuction and then the abs kind of put in,
Okay.
and then weight taken off my hips. Which I know everything I can do could be done at the gym, but
Ain't nobody got time for that.
It takes so long.
Yeah.
I want instant results.
So we're all in agreement. Rhys is most likely.
I think it'd be Rhys, me, Gareth.
I was going to say that if there was an order, it would be me, Lee, and Gareth.
Well, we will see. We will see. Cheyenne maybe inspired me a little bit, and I did a little bit of research on.
No, because the Gareth I knew was very much against this kind of stuff.
No, I'm looking into hair transplants.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I'm getting a second opinion, and I thought, well, whilst I'm there, bit of lipo here and there, we'll see. We'll see. But we'll see.
Lunchtime lipo. I want lunchtime lipo.
Stay tuned, everyone. Stay tuned. But I'll be doing it for myself, no one else. That's the main thing.
Exactly.
Right, we're going to spin the wheel one more time. Here we go.
Oh my God.
Here we go. Right. Who's most likely to win the lottery and then become in debt within a year? Why do I also want to say Rhys? Because he'd splash it all on plastic surgery.
I think it's the same order. I think it would go me, Lee, and Gareth.
Yeah.
I don't think you're less likely to win it. I mean, we've all got the same chance, but I'm more likely to get into debt after a year with it.
I mean, it depends how much money we're talking about here. But most importantly, then, what would you spend? Say you won millions. What would you splash it all and squander it all?
Do you know what? I've always had this answer in my head, right? So I feel that I would be quite intelligent, if I'm honest. I mean, yes, I would buy a car and I would buy a house and I would obviously go on a holiday, but I would also invest.
Mm-hmm.
I would also invest. Somebody the other day told me, now I don't want to give away all my secrets, but they said money is no good in the bank. It's no good. Take it out and buy something that you're going to invest, like a Rolex watch. So you can buy a Rolex watch for £11,000. Keep it and let that Rolex watch gain money every single year, more than the interest the bank will give you.
Our property, invest it in property.
Or property, exactly. And then after the 5 years of having that watch, you sell that watch for double than what you paid for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I would invest.
So would you not then be least likely to be in debt? Because it sounds like you're very intelligent if you win the lottery.
Well, I say that that's what I would do, but then I also know that I want pec implants and I want liposuction and I would like to take a year off work.
Oh, wouldn't we all? Oh.
I want to win the set for life. So 30 years, £10,000 a month. That'll do till I'm 70. And then I'll just take a one-way trip to Switzerland.
Definitely the better option is to do the set for life one.
You don't have to work. I mean, I don't get £10,000 a month at all, but I think what you could do with that a month.
You literally wouldn't have to work. You could start up a business to top that £10,000 up if you wanted to, but that's about it. I need to start. I think it's
Mondays and Thursdays, £1.50 a line. I do lucky dips.
I mean, I say this all the time. If only I win the lottery, and I don't even put it on.
I know. I've never even played the lottery. I used to do the postcode lottery.
I used to do the postcode lottery too, and then I was like, "This is a waste of time."
I did the postcode lottery.
You do all the postcodes. You do all the lotteries, Lee.
Only two.
Do you actually do the lottery as well?
If it's the euro, a rollover or something. Yeah.
You're showing your age now, babe.
My parents do that. They're like, "It's a rollover. Get the lottery on. It could be millionaires." I'm like, I don't think that's how it works. We've still got 0% chance of winning, technically.
No, it's like 1 in a billion or something like that.
You got to be in it to win it.
It's true. But mathematically speaking, statistically or mathematically or whatever, the percentage of winning is 0. But someone has to win. Anything else we all want to add before we say goodbye on our last episode of season 1?
Oh, you guys don't even do the thing anymore.
No,
because no one
sees it.
Well, we can see it, and the people who used to watch YouTube will know what I'm talking about.
On our YouTube channel, after every episode, we used to say, "We're ready, guys," and we used to do a snap of our arms to basically say cut for the end of the episode, and we all had to do it at the same time, and it was very rare that we did it at the same time.
And we don't do the lip sync anymore either.
I know. I'm actually disappointed that you guys don't. That's the real reason why I decided to not come back.
Of course, we don't do a lip sync. I mean, we can do a lip sync if we want, but we'll just be playing a song. I mean, look,
No, you boys are doing good. I'd like to say something, actually. I'd like to say that I am very proud of you boys. You've carried on and you kept that stiffer upper lip, carried on, and you've done really well. And the episodes you've put out have been really, really good and very interesting to listen to.
I'm glad.
You should be very proud of yourselves.
Thank you. And we hope it continues. And as I say, the door is always open for you, Rhys. We will send you when we are filming. Do you know what? When I send me and Lee get our dates, we'll be like, right, I'll send the same thing to Rhys.
Just send it to me. And if I can make any,
free.
if I make them, I'll be there. I promise.
And like I say, the Pride episode and the gay adoption and stuff, I would like you to be a part of. So we'll try and work around you. And we'll, having three of us here. And I just think sometimes having a third person's perspective is really good as well.
I mean, threesomes are always good. I've said that earlier.
Well, yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm. So as always, guys, if you have any questions or topics that you want us to chat about, please get in touch with us via our website, reallifegays.com, and click on the Get in Touch with Us button. Anything else I want to add before we say goodbye, guys?
All good.
All good.
Yeah. Again, thank you to every guest we've had. Thank you to you, Rhys, for joining us on this special 10th episode. We will be taking a few weeks break, but in the meantime, we're not just sitting doing nothing. We will be filming episodes ready for season 2. And once we've got a date for coming back, we will be posting it on our socials and messaging all our subscribers as well. So please stay tuned. But yeah, thank you so much, Rhys. We've loved having you back and seeing your lovely face again.
Thank you very much. I miss you both very much.
I miss you too, Rhys.
Yeah.
Mwah.
Right, well, love you guys. We will see you all in a few weeks. Have a great time. I've been Gareth.
Bye.
I've been Lee. And
I've been Rhys.
Yay! Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.